Alright everyone, let's do a quick sound check here. Vishal, Troy, Ray, Nina, Kamal, Jeff, Gerald, George. Let me just share my screen here with everyone. Alright, everyone should be able to see my screen. Okay, so Leroy is off today. I'm going to cover and answer your questions with the Sonic, go over it a little bit, as well as using the roadmap and give you a little explanation of everything that we're doing here in the market. Is anybody here new in the room, like a new trader? I know we have some recent signups for the Sonic, but I just want to make sure that I'd be able to answer everyone's questions here. All right, Troy, Sean, fantastic. So the first thing I'm going to do here, and you may already know this, but we always look to see if there's any news events happening, typically at 10 o'clock. So that's really important. So whether you use a news calendar or whether you use here, let me just add the news indicator here to my chart. And I focus, just so you know, I'm looking at more the US news events. So here are my settings, and you can copy them because the US news events are the ones that move the market. Those are more important. That's why I have that checked. I have a maximum of 8, but you can have the maximum of how many. The other things here are the high impact. So we know that high impact moves the market. So I'm not really too concerned with low impact or the medium impact because it's more just taking up space on my chart. So this is what I use, and we'll just click OK here just to make sure that there's nothing here that's interfering for today, right? So today is the 18th. I want to make sure that there's nothing here that I'm going to be concerned with. I do see that at 2 o'clock we do have the FOMC, and that may be actually a little bit harder to see. Let me just change the color here for everyone. I'll make it yellow gold. Is that okay? That's a little bit easier. All right, so the FOMC at 2 o'clock is the thing that I need to be concerned with. 10 o'clock, there's nothing here at the moment that I could see. The next thing is the ATR. So the average true range tells me if the market is slow or if the market is fast. Typically, the market works in groupings of days, okay? And like a cycle, we may have 3, 4, 5 days in a row where the market may be strong or it may be slow or it just may be normal. So if yesterday, so we're thinking about how we're going to approach the day. If the day yesterday was slow, then I would say today expect the same kind of a slow environment. If yesterday was fast or everything was chaotic, I would expect the same. So 3, 4 days in a row is typically the cycle where the market converts from being slow, then to being a little bit more volatile, and then going back to being slow. Now that could change. It doesn't have to always be 3 or 4 days. It could be a week or a little bit longer. But typically what we see is a grouping of days of chaos, a grouping of days of very slow, a grouping of days of normal. All right. Anyone have any questions on that so far? So I'm going to add here the ATR. I always use a value of 4. So here's the value of 4 on the average true range. I click OK. And now we have the ATR at about 2.5. Now 2.5 I think is normal. The problem is when the market starts to creep up to 5 or 6 or 7, because remember, on a 1 minute chart, so every candle is exactly 1 minute, you're looking at every single candle, this one, this one, this one, having a high to low of about 2.5 points on average. So remember, what that means to us is the understanding of where that market is going to move within the next few bars. So if I know that the market is moving at about 2.5 points, that means from this candle, this closing price, I can expect the market to go up or down 2.5 points. And now the same thing, and now it's 2.7. So I would probably tell you the same idea, right? I would tell you that from this closing price, expect the market to go up or down 2.5 points, and so on and so on. So, and that's the reason why I look at the average true range, because I want to have more of a clear understanding of, if I place an order, where is my target going to be? What is the expectation of where the market's going to go in a short amount of time. Yes, it could go 10 points or 20 points, but it'll take much longer for it to get there. So if I'm looking to get in and out in a typical day trade, right, a few times a day, look at the ATR and say, this is my expectation. Now, I'm going to break that down a little bit. And before I do, does anyone have any questions on anything I'm covering here right now? Ray, you okay with that? Troy, Sean, Gerald, Pete, Jeff, anybody else? Okay, I'm going to take this back a moment. If I know that the market is able to move, now it's 3 points, right? You can see that now it's 3 points. If I just want 2 points, right? So that's 3 points right here. And if I just want, let's say, 2 points or 1.5 or 1, obviously that's a lot easier to achieve because I know that this market is going to move 3 points up or down, and we want to be right on that direction. So if I take a profit target of 2 points or 2.5, that would be a much easier, and I don't like to use the word easier, right? Because it's not always easy to trade, but it should be easier to achieve that target if you're just under the ATR. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? So it's a lot harder to try to make 5 points when I know the market is just moving at 3 from high to low on every candle because it's going to take longer to get there. But I know that it's easier to make 2.5. Okay, so I'm going to look at here just the back end of the Sonic and give you an understanding of how I'm interpreting that. Okay. Now, if you don't have, for those of you who have version 2 or version 3, you should be on version 4 because this is the latest version, and it also has a couple of more added features as well. So if anyone needs to upgrade to version 4, or if you've noticed that there's some trades that above here should be only long and below should be only short, remember to update to the latest version. You can get it right on your member account. Now, if you see here, take profit target X ATR, you see I have this at half or 0.50. So that's half of the ATR. So that means that when I'm looking for a trade, I'm only looking for, under these conditions, about 1.5 points. If I change this to 1, it'll be more or less 1 times the ATR. So the targets are larger, right? So you can see that the targets are larger. But you also see that it takes longer for it to get there. So when I had it at half of the ATR, which is in this example, think about whatever the ATR is, cut it in half, 1.5 points or about 6 ticks. In this case, it's 12. It will take longer, right, after you enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, which is really not a long time if you think about it, but it just takes longer, and it's more of a nail biter, right, for it to get there. But if I change here, let me just change this back to where is it here? Right here, to 0.50, and you can do this on the TradingView version as well. You see that the targets are smaller, and it's almost, I don't want to say instant, but you're going to get there a lot sooner. So it really depends on what you're looking for. A larger target takes time, and it's riskier because we may not get that. Or if you opt for a smaller target or just under the ATR, to get there is a lot easier. So I want to make sure everyone understands this concept of what can I expect? This is the current conditions. And if I just place a target, because my ultimate goal and our goal is to get in and get out at some type of profit, right? Whether it be 10 ticks, 5 ticks, 1 tick, what we don't want to do is lose money, right? Even break even. I think break even's it's acceptable because we're not losing money. We're just paying for the commission. So that's my goal. Now you see this candle is much larger. It created the average true range to be 4 points. So that means if there's a signal, the target should be roughly, if I have it at half, is 2 points, which is $100. Does that make sense to everybody so far? Okay. The other thing that I want to try to understand or come up with is that when you have a signal, so it doesn't really matter if it's the roadmap, if it's the trade scalper, if it's the Sonic, whatever the signal, it could be your own signals. It doesn't matter. You're seeing a signal. If you're able to get a better price, whether it be a tick better or 2 ticks better, always go for it. Because if you're in a situation where you're placing market orders and you have a bad fill, then that's not going to help you, obviously, because you're chasing it. If, let's say, for example, in this most recent example here, if this happened and I immediately clicked market and I get let's say, my entry here, this isn't really going to help me. It's a small target. I'm chasing it, right? It's not really desirable, let's say. But I want to flip that on the outside. I'm trying to forward think this a little bit. If I'm able to get, without the market hitting our target just yet, if it opens, the candle opens, it goes up a tick or two, I get in, and then it goes down, I'm entering at a better price. I'm using a limit order. I'm not getting slippage. I'm making maybe a tick or two more on the trade, or even getting out earlier. So I want you all to think about the opportunity of when you see a signal. So I'll put here the trade scalper just as an example. Where is it here? Trade scalper. And give it just a second here. So see this trade here, the trade scalper at 56.95, 70. I'm sorry, 56.94.75. So when this occurs, before it hits the target, if this goes up a little bit, get a better price, or this exact price, I should say, or a better price, to see it then go down. You're better off. Now remember, here's the big deal here. It can't already have hit the stop or the target. So if this signal occurred and then immediately it already went down to 3 points or 4 points or whatever the ATR happens to be, or already made the profit target, then you have to consider that trade is over. So I don't want to take that same trade twice. What I'm doing is I'm seeing an opportunity as the market zigzags up and down and up and down, just getting a better price, using a limit order, getting a better price, and then seeing it go down in my favor. And then I can even actually get out earlier too, right? Let me see if I can find another example. So this is another example here where this is the entry short. And if it happens to go up first here, a tick or two, if you're able to get that, great, because then you'll be better positioned for it to go back down. So you see a signal, try not to chase it. So more importantly, don't use market orders where you get a bad fill or chase it. Now, if it goes up and you use a market order and you're getting a tick of slippage, but you're still getting a better price, then that's okay, right? You're getting a better price. You use the market order. That's fine. So again, try to avoid the situation of slippage at a bad price, because when the market moves fast and it's volatile, it'll go fast against you. Using market orders and slippages is a problem. Any questions on that? Next thing is I'm going to add here the roadmap and go over that a little bit. We're pretty much aligned in the idea of what the roadmap does and what the Trade Scout and what the Sonic does. He's a little bit more conservative than I am. Here is a trade on the Sonic for 56.96.50 to go short, and here is the target at 56.95.50. So it's a very small target here on the Sonic. If you're wanting to go short, great. Wait till it goes up a tick or two, and then you can go down to go short. And our goal would still be 56.95.50. That's the target. So you're looking at a signal here on the Sonic. I'm also going to add here the roadmap. Now remember, these are in alphabetical order. So the way that I get to this as fast as possible is I click the D here. I just click on any indicator and I click D here to get to it. Okay. And here's the roadmap. And I know most of you have the roadmap. Most of you are mentorship. Some of you don't have the roadmap, but if you want it, let me know. And we'll get you set up with it. Give it just a second here while this calculates. So you see here's the roadmap. Again, most of you already know how this works. And this goes up, hits the roadmap, and now it's coming back down. To place a trade here, yeah, let me, Troy is asking to place a trade. Let me just get the Superdome here. Okay, Okay, everybody see that? Okay, so the first thing I do is I go to my ATM strategy over here, and I choose something that's closely aligned to what I want to achieve. Now this is here. I would just left click,
Order filled.
and I would get in by left clicking. Now, once that happens, you come over here either on the chart trader and you move this to the target where the green line happens to be, and you do the same thing here on the stop, which is exactly a little bit higher.
Target filled.
So I actually hit the target. But you move it to where the stop happens to be, which is up here. If you can see that right there. So to place a trade, you left click, or you could use market if it's above, or because we don't want to have a bad fill. And sorry, it happened a little bit quicker than anticipated. Let me turn this on here. Okay. And I also like to do something like this. That's how I like to have my chart. Like that. All right, there's another signal here, 56.94.50. So again, to demonstrate, we'll do this. You see how I have it a little bit higher, right? And now I can, well, it did it automatically. It got me filled just a tick higher. I then move this to the target. I move this to the stop, and I expand this out a little bit. I know Leroy has the charts kind of shrunk, right? He shrinks them up a little bit, but I like to have them a little bit more expanded, especially when you're in a trade, so you can see what's going on. Troy, you good with that? Want to learn more? Visit daytrade2win.com and get started with a free member account, which includes access to our trials, including the ABC software. Start learning the right way by using price action and avoid using conventional indicators. We offer unique strategies and proprietary software, including the Sonic system. Join Accelerated Mentorship and get instant access to all our software. Let's get you set up in the next training.